All right, Coach, just your thoughts from today's scrimmage.
Yeah, wow. We're physical. I know that. We handle the ball. If we serve tough, we're physical. And it was, at times I thought it was a violent game out there with the velocity of some of those attacks, the physicality of the block, defense. It was a lot of fun to watch. You know, as a volleyball fan, that was a lot of fun to watch, and seeing them do little things here and there, yet, you know, make a mental list of all the things we need to improve on in the next 2 weeks before we play. But that list is not, I mean, the list is long, but it's not hard. We've got a team that, you know, I think can be pretty good. But just the power, just the raw power, you know, reminded me of what it was like being in the Big Ten and in the Pac-12. Just raw power, a lot of fun to watch.
And what would you say about the effort? Because it seemed like any ball that there was bodies on the ground.
Yeah, if anything, we have to reel them back sometimes, you know, or we have to set up barriers around, because they'll hit anything, and there's a lot of metal in there, so we have to make sure the banners and everything are set up. They weren't today, but that's okay. It's a team that hustles. It's a team that wants to win. It's a team that, you know, doesn't want to be the one person that lets everybody down because they didn't do their job. Yeah, we got a little things, you know, we need to clean up and get better at, but the makings are there for everything that we want it to become.
Awesome. Go for it.
So you mentioned you had a list that is long but not hard of things you want to work on over the next couple of weeks. What would you say and is highest on that list in terms of things you want to, is most important to address?
Yeah, I think there's just a small change in the outside blockers and how they block, with which hand they block with, where they're located, how they line up on the hitters. And I think there's some discipline in the defense, moving a little bit when the ball's being hit instead of just staying there and letting the ball come to you. Little things with getting the platform out early on serve receive, toss on a serve. Like I said, all little things you can fix one practice at a time, and each individual will get better at them just as they do reps in practice. So, I mean, I could go on and on about little things like that that they'll improve in time. But if we let it fester, those are things that can catch you at 25-25. You know, not being in the right spot or not blocking in the right position. So we want to nip those now. And but you know, we're really doing it. I mean, it's our 4th day of practice, and we're looking exactly where I'd want them to be.
How important was it to get these players in front of some fans, you know, since we're about a couple weeks out from the beginning of the regular season?
Yeah, you know, the mindset always changes when you have a crowd there. If you're a little nervous as a player, it's going to accentuate that. If you're calm, it's going to instill some confidence because you know you can do it in front of people. And some people go through all those emotions. So getting in front of people, and wow, what a great crowd.
180.
Yeah, you get 200 people for a scrimmage that was really announced just a couple days ago, made public. That's a nice, it was a loud, nice group to play in front of. And that helps, especially the younger players, know what it's like to play in front of people. Now next week, I like to see us somewhere around 500-600 for our dress rehearsal, Black and Gold, and they'll put on a show for it.
You mentioned that you really like the physicality of this team. Obviously, you know, there's a lot of players that we've already known to be physical, McKenna being one of them, but whose physicality would you say kind of caught you off guard? It's like, whoa, they were a lot more physical than I thought.
Yeah, no, there's some people that have caught me off guard. I mean, I knew that Abby was going to be physical coming from the Pac-12. She just runs the middle like, you know, very few people do. But Amari, physical blocking, you know, Claudia continues to be as physical as she was last year in the attacking, and has improved in the blocking phase. Kari Zumak and her physicality. We're just physical. Emma Trulock, for being a shorter outside hitter, very physical, hit the ball hard. I think, you know, really the one that's impressed me a lot over last year is Stella. Stella has really shown, both on the right and the left, that she can be an effective scorer and blocker. You know, Heidi's getting more physical than she was last year. She finished out the year in a wonderful way for us. She's getting stronger, faster, more physical, becoming a more complete player. So I think the people we're bringing back from last year are a year more experienced, and the people that we're bringing in are people that are pretty physical. I mean, the most physical probably that we have on the team, besides Abby and McKenna, is Emily Wilson, who didn't play tonight. She was a scratch for an injury that shouldn't take much to recover from. But Emily she hits the ball as hard as anybody I've ever seen here. So there's physicality, and there's physicality that's still on the bench right now, and we haven't unleashed it all yet.
I talked to Coach Doyen earlier. He mentioned how it was you and Coach Maurer versus him. Team Black ended up coming out with the win tonight. How important has Coach Doyen been to this staff?
Well, you look at him and what he does, and nobody watches more film. Nobody breaks more things down. Nobody studies the numbers more. Nobody watches more film with the athletes. Nobody goes through the dissection of practice to create the next practice. He's just all in on his effort, and the way he's developed players and the way he's developed systems, it's at a national team level. And so these athletes are getting that kind of experience from what he's doing.
Abby talked about the insight that this scrimmage gave her. What would you think is the biggest piece of insight that you've gained from this scrimmage?
Confirming that we're indeed physical. That's the one thing I want to make sure when the lights are on that we're physical. So that was a good confirmation right there. But as a coach, you're always looking at, okay, that's great, we worked on that, but what still needs to be done? And so things like this highlight the little things that we need to improve on. But the chemistry and the energy and the effort and all those things, those are non-negotiables with this team. And if they're non-negotiables, you've got a great chance of building on things and going far with it.
What do you want to see out of this team in this next scrimmage? Like, what's the progress you want to see this team make in the next week?
Serve and pass. You're going to hear me say every week, serve and pass is going to be the lifeblood of our program because it's what allows us to be physical. So I think that's the most improvement I'd like to see is in the serve pass area. Serving tougher, more consistently, and then passing where we have a lot more in-system opportunities on the passing. Now, it really wasn't that bad tonight, but we can get it better, and we're going to get it better. So I think all in all, you look out there and you say for the fourth practice, where are you? Or the fourth day, where are you? And I think we're way ahead of where I was hoping we would be, and hopefully that continues to accentuate as we go forward.
Yeah, I was going. So now that practice has officially started and you're able to really work with the team, who would you say has surprised you a little bit, stood out in a way? It's like, whoa! I mean, obviously, I've known these people from either recruiting them or the previous season, but this practice they really stood out.
Yeah, I think you look down in the freshman class. I didn't know if Shomers would be ready to start if she was needed to. I have no doubt that she is. She can. And if she has to start, she wins the job or has to start, we're going to be fine with her because she's a quarterback. She knows how to direct an offense as young as she is. And then the other one, Stella is the one that really has impressed me in terms of her versatility, both right and left. So those are the two that have really stood out to me this year. I think we've got to find a way to get several people on the floor. What position that's going to be, I don't know. But we've got to get a combination of people on the floor that give us that pop and that physicality that we're looking for to try to really put pressure on teams.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Thanks, Coach.